Good evening. Hello. Hello from down under. We are at a very, very cold track. 15 degrees air and 20 degrees track temperature. Wow. Anyway, good evening. I am Mac, one of the commentators here at Toga, and this is the final round of Season 2 of our World Tour Series. Now we've got 13 drivers battling it out tonight, going up the mountain, down the mountain, Hell's Corner, you name it. I think that there's going to be everything in this tonight. We do have a driver briefing that's still just going on at the moment. I dare say it'll be finished in the next minute or so. This will just give you some time to have a quick look at the driver standings. And you can see, at the moment, we've got Dan Edwardson in first place. We've got Callum Jones in second. Francesco Maggio in third. Yuval Sharon in fourth. We have Alexei Degani in fifth. Bruno Zanchi. Sorry for brutalising your name. In sixth. We've got Dario Vianello in P7. We've got Pierluigi Lele in P in number 8. We've got Davide Mandalise, number 9, and in 10th position we have Dave Brewster. Quite a spread. You'll see some have a ranking of rookie, some have ranking of semi-pro, intermediates. This is open to everybody, this championship. There's no restrictions in terms of that. As you can see, we are ready to qualify. Now, I believe the driver briefing may still be going on, but Dexter won't have that running for too long. Let's hope. Anyway, let's have a quick look at that. Beautiful looking cars. So, let me give you some facts. Charlie, good evening. How you doing? Hope you're well. Let me give you some facts about this. This is a very iconic track. And I really think it's a purist track. So what I mean by that is people that love being challenged in so many different ways. It is 6.2 meters. Meters, really? It's 6.2 kilometers, which equals to 3.8 miles in length. It has elevation. Now this is from the highest point to the lowest point is 571 feet. It has to be, surely. Spa's certainly not that. I don't know, but that is such a big height difference. Just in terms of any other track that we have on Assetto Corsa. We've got so many different corners. I'm not going to be able to remember them all. I'll be hopefully to be able to remember some of them. But as you can see, if you don't know Bathurst, hi Davida, good luck for tonight. I hope you're doing well. As you can see, it is very tight going up the mountain. Not much room for overtaking. That was said in the driver briefing tonight, that if you are stuck behind a car, blue flag scenario, just sit behind it until you get a gap. Now this coming downhill is such a technical one to try and get right. You're riding as much curb as you can, sticking to the apexes, going as fast as you can, but also braking as hard as you need to. Now going downhill, you obviously need to apply more brake, just because of gravity. And yeah, so it's going to be an interesting race. This is unfortunately my first World Tour Season 2 commentary, so I don't really know how much drama has went on in the championship so far. But yeah.
I'm sure I can help to fill you in on
that. Well, I'm sure you can. Can I just say, it has been a very long time since Mac and Cheese were in the comms box together.
Absolutely.
It must be at least 6 months, surely. Like.
Oh yeah, 4 or 6 months. Yeah, you're looking. It has been a long while.
It has. How are you, my friend?
I am. Yeah, I'm doing okay, thank you. How are you, mate? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I certainly wouldn't like to be a driver on this track. I hate this track. Hate it. Because I can't drive it, basically.
See, I've got a real love-hate relationship with Bathurst.
Mm,
For just like straight out get in the car and just like pound out one lap,
yep.
I love it to pieces. But if you ask me to do anything more than about 20 minutes at once, I'm guaranteed to end up arse first in a wall at quite high speed.
It really is like a pinball coming up the side of the mountain, and you've got barriers literally touching your wing mirror. It's just terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've seen cars here in real life lose individual wing mirrors
Wow.
by touching the wall. No other car parts, just the wing mirrors,
Just the
just by
wing.
scraping them against the wall. It's insane. It shows you just how close, the real life drivers and the sim drivers
Yeah,
push these boundaries. They will push them as close as possible,
yeah.
even if it means sacrificing a little bit of paint or in some cases a little bit of vision and awareness.
I suppose it's a little bit of weight loss as well. I mean, I don't know how much a wing mirror weighs, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything. Yeah, if you feel that you've been done dirty by the BOP that weekend, just knock the wing mirrors off and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, you don't need to be looking backwards. That's for losers. Only look forwards. I'm not suggesting our drivers do that tonight. I really do. We've got some really, really fast drivers in this, and we've kind of ran through the standings already. Have you been able to pick out any particular driver who's really stood out in the championship?
I'll
Or
tell you what, there hasn't been a single race that I've done commentary on for this championship where I've been able to pick a winner until the last 5 minutes.
wow, that's
These
a strong
races,
field.
honestly, they have been, and it's not just at the front either. The battling continues all the way through the middle of the field as well, just through the whole race.
Yep.
It's really, it has been brilliant this World Tour season.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And obviously our very own Callum Jones is in about the standings as well, sitting in P2 at the moment. I think he needs a little bit of fortune for him to take that P1 position in the standings.
Who is at the top of the standings at the moment? Is it Dan Edvardsen?
Dan
Or is
Edvardsen.
it...
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it would be. Yeah. Yeah. Interestingly, one of the kind of later season protagonists isn't here tonight. Alexei Degani,
Oh.
who was driving the Bentley, he is not here. From what I can see at the moment, he has been very quick.
Oh, okay.
Been at the front in the last couple of races. In fact, he was leading at Zolder before he was disconnected.
Oh, no.
Yeah, back before we'd moved servers, that race was. Yeah, really gutting for him. I don't want to speak on anything too early here, but Callum Jones coming down the chase, come through Skyline.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did. You did.
I spoke too early. Sorry, Callum. That's complete commentator's curse. He was 8/10 up there.
He's still 5/10 with that bump, to be fair, you know. It's I was watching him as well, so...
I expect he'll finish this lap and he'll come back into the and we'll return to garage to fix any
damage,
right-hand side damage that he's picked up. It wasn't a huge hit, but it'll be probably a good couple of seconds.
Yeah, and drivers of this caliber feel that difference, whereas certainly me, I wouldn't really feel it until the wing is hanging off and the bonnet's flapping and everything else. But I was just going to say, I do not know. I mean, this is not the widest track in the world. I do not know how he gets that huge beast to even go around corners properly. Like, it just amazes me to watch him driving. And yep, there you go. He's pulled over and he has returned to the garage. So he's currently third. I mean, that's not bad. I think a 159.7 was the fastest in the last practice that they were out running, which is mighty quick. Ooh. As we watch Canton getting all kinds of Larry coming onto the... And these curbs are really quite big. You know, there's quite a curvature to them, which unsettles the car and does all kinds of horrible things that you don't want it to be doing under braking or acceleration.
Yeah, absolutely. The curbs are one of the most difficult parts of this circuit, you know.
Yeah.
They are proper tool curbs.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem like they're going to cause you much of an issue, but because of how rounded they are, it means that when you get onto them, you've only got a tiny portion of your tyre that's actually making contact with the curb.
Uh-huh.
So there's you just have way less grip through the corners than you would normally do if you get onto that curbing at all.
Absolutely. And I'm sure some who are watching may be able to kind of understand this, but when you want to jack the side of your car up and you want both tyres on one side completely off the ground, one of these curbs would actually be quite handy. You literally could probably crawl underneath a GT3 car if it's straddling one of the curbs.
Yeah, they are really high up.
Oh man, yeah. So Zanshe, how have you been pronouncing? Is it Zanshe?
Yeah, I've been going with Zanchi.
Zanshe, yep. He's just been pipped with a 159.6 from Edvardsen. Wow, he's desperate to take that crown.
Yeah, it's a big lap time from Dan Edvardsen. I mean, obviously his only real competition at the moment is Callum Jones. I'm not sure how big the gap in the standings is at the moment. I expect for Dan Edvardsen, I expect it's probably just a case of bring it home on the podium, or maybe even just in the top 5, where it will be enough for him. But I'm not sure how big that points gap is.
45 points between Callum and Dan.
Oh, so he doesn't even have to finish this race, I don't think.
No, because even
got my point system correct,
even 20th place gets 45 points.
Yeah. So he doesn't even have to finish this race. He is the champion.
Yeah.
But we will wait and see for this, for the rest of this.
Yeah. Saying that,
for the rest of this.
37. No, he couldn't do. Even if he finished last, as you say, I think he would win it by 2 points from Callum.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
A real kind of victory round for him. But I think we certainly Ollie and I know Callum. Ollie knows Callum probably better than I do, but he's not one for sitting back and just racing for the sake of racing. He'll be there to try and get as high up that standings as he can.
That order as possible.
Yep.
For sure.
He has just thrown that car about as if it's some kind of Tonka toy or something. That's mesmerising.
Yeah, absolutely. And the amount of grip that he's got just on the outlap here is incredible. You know, he has closed on that Ferrari in front, even though that Ferrari was on, I think, possibly on a valid lap.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's on an invalid lap. He's on his outlap as well.
Yep.
So that shows you he closed up on that Ferrari so much on his outlap. The amount of confidence he's got in that BMW, and the BMW is a good car around here.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a lot of low speed acceleration zones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, out of turn 1, out with a cutting, and out of Forest Elbow down right at the bottom of the circuit as you come onto the long back straight.
Yep.
And it's good on curbs.
Yeah.
You know, so what more could you really want around this circuit in a car?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the noise of that Mustang going up the mountain with the barriers on each side? It must echo like crazy. It must sound amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I expect we'll get some incredible clips in real life when the GT World Challenge comes here.
Yeah.
The first 12-hour, I believe, is in the next couple of months, if I'm not mistaken. They do it.
Yeah.
They do it end of summertime, end of Aussie, start of Aussie summertime.
Yeah.
Because they're Southern Hemisphere.
That's right. Yeah.
So it'll be, I think it's October time. The Bathurst 12. And that's when we'll get the first taste of just how insane the Mustang sounds with these incredibly close concrete walls just bouncing the sound back and forth. It's going to sound mental.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is. You can tell he's on a charge. You can just tell by the way he's driving, he's pushing that car to the limits and taking every inch of the track that he can. He's actually catching that
managed
McLaren.
To pull another 10th. Managed to pull another 10th out of that car at the moment.
A little squirt of oversteer as he comes down, and this is just a huge drag, but obviously you then have the very slight right-hander, which if you're not concentrating can absolutely throw you off the track.
Yeah, absolutely. The chase is probably one of the most, I know this sounds ridiculous at a track that has the prestige of this track and the history and the reputation of this track, but the chase is honestly one of the most difficult corners on the track.
Yes.
Because you have to get it inch perfect.
Absolutely.
Because you can't hit the curb on the inside because you spin.
Yep.
And you can't be half a meter too far to the left because there's so many marbles there from how much pressure you're putting through the tyres that you just understeer, and then you're on the marbles for your braking zone, and then you get the final chicane wrong.
Yep.
So it is very much one line through there.
Yep.
Yeah, gap at the top extends 0.38 of a second now. Bruno Zanchi sat in the pit lane. That's the end of his qualifying session.
Yep.
But there are people improving behind, so we will keep our eyes open and on track and see what's going on. Callum Jones has a massive spin.
Oh.
Massive spin, and that is going to be the end of his qualifying session. Coming out of whichever one that one is.
Oh yeah. Onto the curb and forward. Well, he didn't actually ruin Aston Martin. He managed just to skip round, but yeah, you can see that tells you how much Callum was pushing. Maybe I mean I've not driven the Mustang round here, so I don't know.
Oh, Quarry, that's the one.
What it's like round this track to know, if it suits it or not. Davida, what are those lap times? Good job, guys. It's pronounced Zanke, by the way. Okay, thank you very much. Zanke. Davida is
I've
our
only
official.
been pronouncing it wrong for the last 5 weeks then.
Well, look at me and Elias. I've been calling Elias for like 8 months before finding out from you that it was actually Elias, and I'm like, why did he not tell me? But obviously people tend not to want to correct you and things, but yeah, Davida is our Italian translator for names. Maggio is on an improvement, 2/10 at the moment. That's a beautiful looking McLaren. P5 just behind Callum Jones. 2 cars out, 1 car out, Airy Fasttail at the moment. And
although he's coming back into
the pits, yeah. Maybe just practicing his pit entry and I mean, it's a very short pit exit as well. It literally spits you out into the into very fast traffic.
Onto Mountain Straight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Callum, slightly disappointed with quali. Been 2 laps, good enough for P2. Yeah, I'm not calling favouritism here, but we were spending quite a bit of time on watching you. I just don't know how you can get that huge beast round this track and make it look like you're just in a Sunday drive. But good luck to all of yous. I hope you're doing well, Callum. So 3 minutes, then we'll have an entire formation lap of the 6.2 kilometre race track, and then
absolutely
we'll be good to go. This must be. So I was just saying the height difference from the highest point to the lowest point of this track. Now, let me just so I know exactly, 571 feet of a height difference. That must be one of the biggest highs and lows.
The only track in ACC that I can think of that would even get close to that would be the Nordschleife, and that's just by, by length.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The Mustang is terrifying. It looked terrifying just watching it in my rig here. There's a couple of times I actually held my breath for you, Callum. It's a bit terrifying, but we have. Yeah. Sorry, on you go, Ollie.
So the Nordschleife does take the cake by just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's sarcasm. By the way. The Nordschleife has 984 feet
Wow.
of elevation change
Jeez.
from highest point to lowest point, which, in all fairness, doesn't massively surprise me.
No.
Because when you think right up the top at what is in colloquial terms known as Death Corner, that's not actually what it's called. It's called Muttkurve.
I think every corner's called Death Corner in Nordschleife.
Which I think actually Muttkurve is just Death Corner in German, so it is called Death Corner. That's the top of the track, and then you've got to consider the lowest point of the track is probably the hairpin on the normal Nürburgring.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You climb and go down a lot of hills in between those 2 points. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that doesn't massively surprise me at it being bigger.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've got the advantage of being a track that's that's 3 times longer than this. So
swings and roundabouts.
yeah. So I guess theoretically, the elevation change per kilometre is pretty much identical.
Yeah.
Because it's about 3 times as much.
Yeah. Absolutely. Davida, it's terrifying that you're in the wall doing your times and you're 2 seconds faster. Oh dear. Charwing, good evening. Hope you're doing well. Good luck to all, absolutely. So we have our grid for starting. We've got Edverson in P1, we've got Zanke in P2, Sharon P3, Callum Jones P4, Maggio P5, Vianello in P6, Canton in P7, Airy Fasttail P8, Lely in P9, Sala P10, Brewster in P11, Davide Mandalisi in P12, and Bart de Kouwer in 13th. Unlucky for some, but not for Bart. And I'll remember it's Bart, not Brian, hopefully.
I'll tell you what, Bathurst used to be one of my favourite tracks to... you know Jimmy Broadbent does his, how fast can X car lap the Nordschleife?
Yes. Yep.
I used to do a similar thing. Didn't upload it to YouTube because I was like 14 or 15.
Right,
but I used to do a similar thing in Bathurst on Assetto Corsa. And one of the most mental laps I ever did around here was in the unrestricted Porsche 919 Evo.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just insanity.
Yeah.
Like, imagine blinking and being 2 corners away from where you were when you started blinking. Because that's what driving the 919 Evo around here was like.
Did you have any rubber on your tyres left?
I genuinely, I don't know, but I was just like, you had to hold your eyes open the whole time. The last time you could blink was on Mountain Straight, and then you couldn't blink again until you were on Conrad coming towards the end of the lap. Because otherwise you were just going to miss a braking zone or a turn-in point or an acceleration zone, and you were going to hit a wall.
Oh my God.
Because it just took every corner at like 120 kilometers an hour.
Oh,
that was
crazy.
Ridiculous. A lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It took me a good 15 laps before I managed to get one where I didn't go into the wall.
That's good going. I could probably spend about 50 and still hit a wall somewhere or come flying off. But yeah, it's...
Absolutely.
I really do. As much as I hate the track, I hate it for driving, but see, watching, I love it. I just love the intricacies about the corners. If you look at the map and squint, it looks a relatively square track and lots of straights, and yeah, it does have straights, but oh my goodness, the technical part coming down the mountain and up the mountain,
down through Skyline,
yeah,
and through the S's. This is probably, I would argue, the most challenging individual section of corners on any racetrack in the world.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Absolutely.
There is nowhere that is as difficult as this.
Yeah.
Downhill braking, which drivers hate because it means that your brake pedal goes long.
Yeah.
Barriers that are 3 centimeters away from the car at all points. Every apex is a blind apex. You just got to turn in and hope.
Yeah.
And each corner is slightly slower than the next, which means you can never get off the brake pedal.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Madness.
Yeah, it really is. This is... I just realised this on kind of helicam and things. This really is a street circuit. When you think of how narrow and close to the track the barriers are, you really think it's a street circuit.
The mountain road is a public road.
Yep.
Through the weeks and months that this track isn't used, it is the mountain road is a public road.
Wow, there you go. That's crazy. Crazy. We have just about completed the parade lap, so they're all getting into there's a lot of black and green cars tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm seeing quite a few. It's just a good colour combination, isn't it?
It is a good colour combination. It absolutely is.
Right then.
Let's get
ready to rumble.
This is going to be probably about, 30 seconds of boringness, all going at the same speed, and then just chaos ensuing, but very experienced drivers, so as they come round, you can see the red lights in the distance, just try and heat the brakes up, keep to the speed limit, no drive-throughs please, and no red flag. There we go, we are green, we are racing, and already what a start for Edvardsen. Looks like...
Yeah, exactly what he needed. Got off the line really well, had the best release of anyone in that top 4.
Yep.
And has made the most of it. There's a position change for P5 as Vianello gets past Francisco Maggio.
Does that beautifully as well. I mean, it just looked like he had about 10 horsepower more in that car as he just sailed past. It shows you how much of a drive, if you can get out the corner, it really does make such a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. The drive out the corner is really big here, especially coming down Mountain and Conrod Straight.
Yep.
When you're coming out of Forest Elbow and out of Hell Corner at turn 1. If you can get a good drive, you've got both of those straights. Mountain Straight is about 800-900 meters, and Conrod's just over a kilometer.
Yep.
So you've got plenty of time to get in the tow and make that move happen if you've got the run out of the acceleration zones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, first wall, maybe for Francisco Maggio. He's managed to keep it out the wall, but he got very sideways into Skyline. Somehow managed to keep it out of all the walls down through the S's. I don't know how he did that.
Yeah,
the onboard replay is going to be extremely scary.
Oh, jeez, there was 2 barriers that came in contact with him, but it was very light tap, so hopefully there's not much damage. But almost a second ahead already for Edvardsen, and not even completed his first lap yet.
Absolutely. It just shows, I think, how much that BMW is really working for him right now.
Yeah.
He's not having to drive that car particularly hard. He's just comfortable. You know, everything that happens is working for him, and that's what he needs.
Good evening, Mank. I hope you're doing well. It feels a bit easier since the Nords arrived, but it's still brutal. I think it really is a driver's track, if that makes any sense. I think there's just some tracks that you need to have really good driving skills to even attempt to be quick on it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be single file for half of the lap, and then the rest of the lap it's just going to be flat out chasing each other. Got a bit of a gap.
Bruno Zanchi
Sorry,
I was just going to say Bruno Zanchi getting the line a little bit wrong there through Quarry.
Yep.
And that means that gap is now over a second to Dan Edvardsen. He's out the tow of Bruno Zanchi behind, and it's now all a fight for P2. We've got a long train there as Salo's managed to get past Pierluigi Lelli whilst through the cutting, I believe he's got that move done, and Lelli's in the wall.
Oh dear. Oh yeah.
And then there was contact behind as well. I believe it was Brewster into the... Mandalesi into the back of Brewster. Brewster on the brakes to avoid Pierluigi Lelli bouncing off of the yellow wall at the top. And Davide Mandalesi just nowhere to go.
Yep. And that is a problem. You've got a lot of blind crests, blind corners. You come flying round it, next thing you know is a car broadside, nowhere for you to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think going back to what you were saying about it being a driver's track, I think if you were to go and ask racing drivers, four-wheel racing drivers, you know, 4 tracks that they would love to win at, the vast majority of them, it will be one circuit from their home country, if they've got a big, well-known motor racing circuit in their home country or near to where they grew up, etc.
Yep.
And then the next 2 spots are going to be 2 of 3 or 4 tracks. Your options are Daytona International Road Course at the Daytona 24, Le Mans, Nordschleife, and here.
Yep.
Those are the 4 tracks internationally that almost every single 4-wheel racing driver wants to win a race at.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because they are just well regarded as being the most difficult tracks to get around for an extended period of time, whether it be 12 hours, 24 hours, or in between. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this track alone, as you say, about concentration, about every lap being like a qualifying lap, but being so focused, because you imagine trying to do multiple stints over like a 12 or 24 hour period on this track, you'd be exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the benefit with the fact that there's not a 24-hour race at this track is that it happens across the period of one day. So because it's a 12-hour race is the longest one that they do.
Yep.
Actually, tiredness doesn't play a humongous factor.
Right, okay.
Because you're generally in a 3-man team, so you do 4 hours each.
Yep.
And what you do is you split it up into almost like a morning, like a day shift, a lunch cover, and then a night shift, like you have in like retail work.
Yep.
So you have one driver get in and do 2 hours at the start, then you have another driver do 2 hours. Then the original driver does his next 2 hours, and that's his 4 hours done. So he's got his first 4 hours done in the first 6 hours of the race.
Yeah.
Then it's the second driver, then the night shift driver does his first 2 hours of the race. After the morning guy has finished. Then it's the middle guy, again, the guy who did the second stint.
Yep.
And then to finish the race is your finisher. And it means that actually each rider is only being physically active for 6 hours. For 6 hours at a time. Because, unlike a 24-hour race where you might do a stint that finishes at 12, midnight.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you have to be back in the car at 6 or 7 a.m. It just gives that little bit. It's because it all happens in the space of a normal human's awake hours anyway.
Yeah. You don't need to fall asleep on a garage floor on a blanket or something for a couple of hours before you're back out again.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is something you need here, and I think it's why we don't see 24-hour races run.
Yeah.
Because as you see coming towards the end of a lot of 24-hour races, and especially in the early morning, is when a lot of silly incidents and spins and solo crashes happen.
Yep.
Because the driver who started the race is often back in the car and very tired.
Yeah. Zanke could be in problems here. He got a really bad entrance and exit as they come down to the last few corners. It does look like Sharon is going to go for this. Kind of planting the 296 in the middle of the track. No point in trying to look just now, but Callum Jones sniffing for a move here as well. I'm sure Callum isn't the type of person, but there've been many drivers hoping that these two 296s collect each other and Callum can just drive past. Very, very close. I think possibly Mountain Straight might be the move if he can get
possibly so.
If he can get a good drive out.
He looks pretty dead even out of the corner, but he's right in the toe. It's only 2/10, and obviously it's similar to, if anyone watches NASCAR, it's similar to how teams running the same make of car will push each other.
Yeah.
These Ferrari 296s will benefit the most in the toe of a Ferrari 296.
Yep.
and it's exactly the same in NASCAR. The cars are made to run in the aero pocket of the same make of car.
Yep. At the moment, Zanke is able to hold Sharon off. Obviously, this is not the time you would try and go for a move, but I wonder if Zanke... Oh! He nearly loses. He takes so much curb. Huge commentator curse.
And this whole section of track is just non-stop. I would say even not just this section of track, the S is downhill. I'd say from McPhillamy Park, the previous corner,
yep,
all the way down here, because McPhillamy Park is a mental corner. You're downhill, off camber, huge curb with the wall right there on the inside, and a huge curb on the exit. And if you climb on that curb, you're going to spin into the wall before you get to Skyline.
Yep.
McPhillamy Park is an incredibly scary corner, and in these cars, even in race pace, in these cars, you're only lifting through there. You don't brake.
No.
You don't brake through McPhillamy Park. You have a small lift and wham straight back on the throttle as soon as possible. So you've got to get the line absolutely perfect every single time.
As they're just coming round Murray's corner now. Start at the next lap, but look how close this has to... Is he actually going for the move? Oh, yeah, so close. Oh, side by side. Wing mirrors touching, and oh, he did leave enough room, but I think Zanke got a little bit nervous there as he came out the exit. He thought maybe he was going to get the door closed on him, so Sharon making the move after 2 laps. See if Callum Jones can do anything about this, but certainly I was at 296 on 296, so certainly, as Ollie said, it's slightly different when you've got a huge behemoth like the Mustang trying to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe part of what made Bruno Zanchi go off there is the fact that he got into the and that's that's really disappointing. Davide Mandalesi into the wall.
Oh no!
At Quarry. He was alongside Pierluigi Lelli, who pushed him onto the grass on the outside in the braking zone.
Oh, yep.
And yeah, Davide Mandalesi managing to keep going, but that car's going to have some damage on it now. That's, that's really disappointing for him.
Yeah, that is a little bit cheeky. I think I would say, I'm not a steward, but I certainly would say it was a little bit cheeky just in the nature of how that went. But again, Zanke getting all kinds of wide, and that is plain. I really thought the Mustang's straight speed would just be a huge advantage, but it doesn't seem to be. All these cars are obviously balanced between as low downforce as possible, but high enough for all the tight turns.
Yeah, I think.
Put my teeth in.
I think, especially for the Mustang, there's a bit more of a trade-off than on other cars, because the Mustang is so naturally quick in a straight line. That is because it is aero inefficient. It doesn't produce brilliant amounts of downforce. Because it produces the exact same amount of horsepower as every other GT3 car, because that's a regulation thing, and they all run them to the exact amount they're allowed to. So actually, I think Callum possibly is having to have a little bit more downforce on that car than cars that produce the downforce more naturally.
Yep.
If you get my drift.
Yeah, I do, absolutely. Somebody, I think it was Zeta, that actually said that the Mustang's splitter in a neutral position actually stalls the aero. So I mean, I'm not Adrian Newey by any. Oh, Zanke into the barrier. Into the other barrier. Callum.
Just a tap and a tap again.
Yeah. Oh, Callum taking. Wow. Callum thinks there's a little bit more green on that barrier would look good. So they were actually catching Sharon.
A little tap dancing class up at the top of the mountain there. Showing the drifters how a wall tap is done.
Exactly. Let's have a look at the front camera. It certainly doesn't look hugely damaged, that Ferrari. Obviously it's more glance and blows, but there will be damage to that Ferrari, and he now has Vianello hot in his bumper as Callum Jones looks like he's sniffing out for P2 just now as well.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Callum Jones has gained time there. 0.4 now. I don't know if actually those Ferraris running together were faster than them running on their own. Because Callum is making inroads on Yuval Sharon here. Yeah, last lap 0.3 of a second faster.
Wow.
So it is a noticeable closing every lap for sure.
Yep. It's amazing, just before the 200 marker, he goes into the top gear then, so he's obviously wringing every gear out as much as possible. Obviously the Ferraris have a little bit of an advantage in terms of the downshifts. They don't have as much of the downshift protection, so they can actually use the braking of the engine and the gearbox to slow down even better, but Callum doing an absolutely stonking job so far.
Yeah, and partially the reason that the Mustang has that higher downshift protection is because it revs higher.
Yeah.
So that downshift protection, it is needed because the engine will get damage if they just ram it down the gears like you do in most other GT3 cars.
Yep. Callum's certainly closing up as they come out back onto the straight, but 296 just seems to get a better drive out the corner, so it kind of stalls anything that Callum's made on the mountain section. And it looks like interesting. So Sala pitted, but it's not shown. Is there a pit window?
There is a pit window, so I'm assuming that's probably to fix damage. If anything. Yeah.
It doesn't say how long it is or anything, but yeah, so that's interesting. Unless he, I don't know, why would you pit twice then?
It was a 51-second stop, so it was damage repair. 20 seconds worth of damage repair. And Bruno's actually into the pits now as well.
Yeah. That
Ferrari. Oh no, time stopped was 23 seconds, so that's not fuel or tyres, so that's just a straight damage repair.
Definitely damage, yep.
No tyres, no fuel.
Yeah, it's a very battered and sorry looking 296. I don't think there's a...
Oh, Bruno's actually picked up some more damage, has he?
It certainly looks like it. Obviously ACC's a little bit different. It doesn't always show damage straight away, but it's looking mighty damaged now.
Yeah, absolutely. I will let you know how long this pit stop is.
Yep. As we're watching Callum Jones back on the back end of that 296, but Edvardsen now 5.4 seconds ahead of these two. So the more these two squabble, the more he's just sailing off into the distance. But again, this is a bit of pride that they're driving for. You know, Callum is in the second place in the championship. Even if he could just try and eke out a P2 finish, that would be awesome. You can see how much he's fighting, how close he is as well to the barriers and everything else on the track that you could possibly think of. So Zanke now fallen down to... We've actually had a disconnect. We did start with 13.
Yeah, we've lost Dave Brewster.
Oh, yeah.
And Bruno's actually still stationary a minute and 10 seconds later.
Wow, that must be a lot of damage. I wonder if he has had... Oh, Callum's lots of oversteer as he comes out of that corner. Let's have another look at this. Huge whack of oversteer as he's trying to get back on the power as quickly as he can. Just between mid-corner, so it totally puts him off for the second corner. Losing a little bit of time now, 1.5 seconds behind Sharon. Bart de Kouwer having just a lonely drive. He's sitting 10th at the moment. as he comes down to finish another lap. He's got Davide Mandalese, who hasn't pitted for that damage. I will put my teeth in at some point. How long was Zanke's stationary when for his pit stop?
So in the end, it was 1 minute and 17 seconds stationary.
Wow, jeez. I hope it was worth it. But he has... Oh, there can't be a pit window. He's shown us he's completed his pit stop. So he's going now for the end of the race, I would anticipate, because that 296 has got quite a large petrol tank. Is it 110? 120 litres it can hold? Oh,
yeah,
Davide!
120, I believe.
Davide looks like he's driving on ice. That BMW, the back end wants to overtake the front at every possibility. So whether that's a damage, I would think that's a damage, because Davide is not that kind of driver who's hard on the right foot, but the problem is that's forcing him in towards Bart de Kouwer, who's now only 8/10 behind him. So yeah, I mean, if you were Davide, Ollie, would you have went into pit and just fueled up for the rest of the race and fixed the damage?
It's difficult. I think with this long left to go, you've got to weigh out whether the damage is costing you more per lap than the older tyres at the end of an hour-long stint compared to, let's say, 30 or 40-minute stint will.
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem is you just don't know what's going to happen in that next hour. You know, whether you end up with a little bit more damage or... yeah, so David is just sticking this out just now, trying to handle the car as delicately as he can, but you can see he's really struggling to hit apexes at the moment. Bart de Kouwer now 5/10 behind with that huge green Aston Martin. I think this could be job done soon. Obviously the aero damage is going to be an issue on the straight as well, although yeah, it doesn't look like Aston's really making much headway towards them at the moment, so Bart will no doubt be sizing him up and finding out where he can really put the pressure on and possibly get past. But oh, Davide, oh my goodness, that corner is certainly not his favourite today, as he's 3/10 ahead of Bart de Kouwer, so Bart really pushing this the BMW up the mountain just now. And of course teammates as well, to be fair, in Bart and Davide are in the Toga Esports team, so I know there's a lot of respect between the two drivers, so but Davide is really on the limit of what he can do with this damage.
Yeah, absolutely. It is always, obviously, and I know this sounds like me saying stuff for the sake of it, but it is obviously always more difficult to drive with that damage, because it makes it, the problem is that having damage doesn't only affect the part of the car that the damage is on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So as much as, you know, if I've got front left corner damage, for example, and it's knocked off one of my end plates,
mm-hmm.
one of my dive planes, sorry, as they're called on GT3 cars, that affects how much aero my front left corner produces. Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It also affects the aero wash down the side of the car. So actually it impacts how much aero the whole left-hand side of the car makes.
Yeah. Because
those dive planes are carefully placed and angled and cut and trimmed, you know, yada yada.
Yeah.
To not only produce downforce, but to control the airflow and where the air moves down the side of the car.
Yeah.
So having one of those damaged or missing doesn't only affect that specific aero point, it affects the aero points all along the left-hand side of the car. So yeah, it is always, you know, you might just think, oh, it's just a little bit of, you know, front left corner damage, but actually you've essentially picked up damage across the whole left-hand side of your car when you do that.
Yep. And I have to say, this time it's...
coming in the wall.
Oh!
A little tap as he was coming down through the S's on that left-hand side.
I don't know if David has got a second surge in his driving there, but he was only 1/10 slower than Bart, and now 6/10. It splits them at the moment. This is a great view from the helicam all the way down. Just shows you how tight this circuit is. Because the problem is you can't just straight line the corners, because the corners actually come back on you. So you do have to be delicate on the right and left foot as you are coming down through the mountainside. But yeah, Bart's still 5/10 at the moment, so maybe David has just managed to settle himself down and now knows how the car reacts, because as we know, we all drive the cars perfectly intact for the majority of the time. We don't really practice much with damaged cars, so it does take a couple of laps just to get used to it. This seems to be where Bart really gets close to him on the braking onto the start-finish straight, but again, not quite enough to bother Davide. So I have to say, Edverson is not driving away from Sharon. Gap's 5.3 seconds at the moment. Callum is then 3.8 behind. Everyone's spreading out a little bit, finding their feet. Obviously, there's a lot can happen in 54 minutes, so it really is about being consistent and just trying to do the best laps you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this really is one of those tracks, more than some others, where consistency over pace is really key.
Yep.
You know, there are some tracks, especially newer style of tracks, where there's a lot of, you know, concrete runoffs, and all the walls are really far away, and all of that stuff, where you can afford to make a little mistake here and there, and it's not going to cost you much, which means you can push harder, just by, you know, just by correlation. Not round here.
No.
Essentially, to sum up a couple of sentences into 5 words. Yeah, not round here.
No, definitely not.
This is a track where you are far better being, you know, driving half a tenth, 6-7 tenths below your ability.
Yep.
But getting to the end of an hour-long stint with the car being clean, than you are driving at the absolute maximum you can do, but you go backwards down the S's.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yep, and then your entire race
It really
is
is one of those tracks where you have to weigh up the amount that you're going to push compared to the amount of risk that you're putting on the car and hence your own race.
Yep, absolutely. So Lely and Aston Martin has pitted just in front of Davide and Bart, moves them up to 8th and 9th respectively. I actually was watching a video today with Ben Collins, who, if you don't know who that is, he was a Stig on Top Gear. He was racing Super GT on Assetto Corsa, and Ben Collins asked Super GT, you know, are you driving at 100%? And he says, no, I usually drive about 95, 98%, and I leave a couple of percent just in case. You know, you don't want to be pushing the limit every single second, because you want something in the tank just in case you make a slight error, whether it's an error in judgment or driving skill or something else. Oh, yeah, Bart into the barrier there.
And I guess, you know, as much as that is true in sim racing, I guess for Super GT that is far more true and Davide Mandolesi has gone off. I think the car's okay. I think he was just getting out of the way of Bart Calvin, letting him through instead of fighting him through the S's.
Yep.
He went a little bit off the track on the right on the exit of McPhillamy Park. Like I was saying, I think that's far more true in real life. It is true in sim racing as well. But look at where Super GT races at the moment. You know, he's in the BMW M4 GT4 at the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
And I think the Nordschleife is definitely one of those tracks where you take your foot probably off. You probably leave more percent on the table at the Nordschleife than you do at any other track.
Well, yeah, well, absolutely.
Because it just doesn't stop coming at you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to drive at 100% for the whole lap, you are almost destined to have a crash.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Obviously, the huge difference is if you come off the track on this straight into a barrier, you literally return to garage and you're fine. You do it in real life, you're either going to end up in an ambulance with a hefty repair bill, or count yourself very lucky that you waking up the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially a track like the Nordschleife. You know, we've seen. You know, unfortunately, it isn't massively uncommon for people to suffer serious injuries.
Yep.
At the Nordschleife, you know, we saw there was one only a couple of months ago where Audi were doing test driving and one of their cars suffered a rear tire failure.
Uh-huh.
And they, you know, it was two people in the car and they were both medevaced and were in hospital for a lengthy period.
Right. Okay.
You know, those kind of injuries happen at tracks like that.
Yep.
And that is why people drive under the limit, because, you know, it's far less about the car at a track like that. It's about you.
Yep.
It's about you going home in one piece.
Yep.
You know, at a track like the Nordschleife and a track like this, you know, Bathurst has seen lots of injuries across the years. Seen its fair share of, unfortunately, drivers passing away at Bathurst. We've seen in crashes as well. Thankfully, nothing really since the turn of the millennium.
Yep.
But yeah, in the history of both Bathurst and the Nordschleife, there has been great tragedy in terms of loss of life for drivers. And that is why those guys, you know, you look at them as professionals and you think they're going out there and giving it their all the time. They're absolutely not.
Yep.
They're giving it what they need to give.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not what they absolutely can.
Yep. It's interesting. Zanke back into the pits again.
Yeah, I don't know if this is now an
actual pit stop.
Where his fuel and tyres. Well, no, he's been stopped for 1 minute and 48 seconds.
Oh wow! I tried to have a look. Obviously, the cameras aren't great for when they're in the pits.
Oh no, hold on. This might not be. That might be his total time stopped, not his time stopped in this pit stop. So he's been stopped for about 50 seconds now, I think, this one.
Okay.
Yeah, another long pit stop, I guess. Probably just more damage.
Yep.
For Bruno Zanke.
I just couldn't get a camera angle to see if it was looking damaged or not. So, but yeah, not a day for him to remember at this track. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. And I tell you what, this track actually was the scene of one of the weirdest red flag incidents in probably the history of motorsports. So it was the 12 Hours of Bathurst back in the early thousands, when it was run with, when it was still multi-class like it is nowadays, but it was run with a really it was run with more like your DTM style cars.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I'm talking like old DTM cars.
Yeah.
Your Mercedes like 1990s A classes.
Yeah.
Type DTM class, and they were on an onboard shot inside one of these Mercedes DTM cars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite incredible. He came round Forest Elbow at the very bottom of the track, and he came round the corner, and a huge tree had fallen across Conrod Straight, and I mean huge. Like the trunk of this thing was, I think it was 4 or 5 meters in diameter. It was a massive tree had fallen, and they obviously had to red flag the race. They turned all the cars on track around, and they had to drive the track in reverse to get back into the pit lane again.
Oh man!
And then they had to get these massive like tree cutters down there to cut up the tree and lift it off using the cranes that they use for the cars.
God.
Yeah, one of the weirdest red flag incidences that...
That is bizarre. And, you know, how many tracks you think have got one of these, you know, huge tree-cutting machines? Probably this is about, maybe this and Nordschleife are about the only ones you would expect
probably,
it.
yeah. Maybe Le Mans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
would have something like that on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous. One of the weirdest incidents I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it live. I've seen it in a YouTube video since.
Uh-huh.
You know, being a massive motorsport fan, random stuff like that pops up on my YouTube feed all day, every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched it, and you can't help but laugh. You know, it's so absurd. Like, that is the last thing you would expect coming around a corner.
Yeah.
You know, when you're coming around the exit of a corner, you're thinking, I might see another car, I might see a person, and I might see an animal. You're not thinking, I might see a massive tree covering the whole track.
Oh, that is just crazy. I mean, I thought it was bad when, I think it was the Superbikes, was it groundhogs or something like that running across the track. But yeah, a tree kind of beats everything that I've ever heard, that's for sure. Sharwin, is there any wild kangaroos in the sim in Bathurst? Well, I don't know. I think this track's exciting enough as it is. Never mind adding.
No, but there has been a kangaroo on track at Bathurst before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a practice session. There was a practice session red flagged for it once. Only once it's happened that I can find. But it was hopping round at the cutting, where I think Airy Fasttail is just coming up to. Yeah, he hopped down the track here, where Airy Fasttail is, and came through this little kink, up towards the cutting, and then he just hopped over the barrier and just went about his day. Off he went.
As if nothing had happened, as if it was a normal day.
As if he hadn't just hopped across what at the time was a live practice session track for you know 620 odd horsepower GT3 cars.
Yeah, that's crazy. It really is. Let us know if you've heard any even more bizarre stories in racing terms than that. I think that one definitely for me is the weirdest one. But can I just say David Amandalisi is now challenging Bart? He's now 5/10 behind.
He's back up to him again, isn't he?
Yeah, this is where he struggled in the previous lap. Oh, wow! I don't know if. He's just like that. I don't know if that Aston, maybe the brakes aren't as good as a BMW, but oh my, like Davide is on the bumper. Taking a little bit of grass just as a run down here. Looks like the Aston's got the legs, obviously out and out straight line speed. Probably matches a BMW quite well as they move to the left of the track for this very slight kink. As you can see, taking as much track as possible, open the corner up, then heavy on your braking marker. Wow, that was it's amazing to see different racing lines. Bart took a completely different line there. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but it certainly allowed Davide to catch right onto the back bumper of that Toga Esports car. Vianello and Canton into the pits. Zanke's not come out the pits. I wonder if that's game over for them.
Yeah, I think he's done. Yeah, I think he's done.
Yeah.
Really disappointing for Bruno Zanke.
Yeah.
Been in the pits now for I think about 5, maybe 6 minutes. So
yeah.
possibly just waiting to come out and do a lap at the end. To be classified.
Yep. Oh, Davide with a touch of barrier there. Any more touches, I think his bonnet's going to come flying off. It's flapping in the wind like a wing of a plane.
Tell you what is interesting right now is that the gap at the front has ever so slightly closed, at least, until Yuval Sharon came into the pits. Yuval Sharon in pit lane.
Wow, okay.
The Ferrari car splitting this race pretty much perfectly in half by the time that he's out the pit lane again.
Yep. That's that's interesting. So Callum promoted to P2 for the time being. I wonder if the leader sees that and is going to cover it off with a pit stop in the next lap.
Yeah, I think track position means so much around here.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult to overtake, it is possibly, possibly doing that undercut is going to work. So I think we will see definitely Dan Edfordson and probably Callum Jones reacting to that.
Yeah.
Although, they've all got their own plans in terms of what they're going to do and in terms of what their fuel is, tyre wear, all of that good stuff that, ACC and real life drivers never really stop thinking about.
No, absolutely. Dan Edfordson is... Oh.
Sorry, I may or may not be watching the opening game of the Premier League.
Oh, right, okay. I thought something happened on track, and I'm like, I can't see anything.
No, it was just United almost scoring.
Oh, nice. Dan Edfordson is... his BMW just looks like it's on rails. There's not a speck of damage on it, and... okay, he's about a second slower than what his best lap time is, but he's still hovering around the 201.5.
I think that's actually I think that was a mistake lap from him. That's his first lap that I've seen that he's been out of the 2 minutes this whole race.
And
it's going to be
into the pits.
For Dan Edfordson.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So, does Callum blink? Does Callum do it next? He's not a huge... Yep, he is. Callum into the pits as well, so... Sharon triggering a whole load of pit stops coming up. The only 3 left now are is Maggio, Bart de Cauer, Davide Mandalisi and Sala left to pit. So see what happens. Maggio just coming down now towards the pit. Yeah, Maggio into the pits as well.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on Yuval Sharon at the moment, trying to see what the crack is with where he is on track. He's just coming to the chase.
And of course, this is a mandatory fuel and tyre, so it'll be a minimum of 30 seconds stopped at your box.
Yeah, so they need to be moving like now. Are they moving?
Nope, nobody's moving.
This could be very close. It really depends how close their pit box is to the exit.
His box is right at the exit, so...
Dan Edfordson is going to be ahead. He'll stay ahead, that's
him
fine.
Out. Callum Jones now just off the blocks.
Yeah, so Callum Jones is going to possibly cede position here. He's lost position to Bart de Cauer.
He has, yep.
And that could be crucial in the long run. Although I think Callum Jones has lost more time in the pit stop, he probably did a little bit of damage repair, actually, now that I think about it. No, 32 seconds stationary.
Okay.
He was exactly the same as Dan Edfordson.
Obviously on a lot fresher tyres than Bart, and kind of pushing that Aston up the hill as they go. Obviously teammates, as you can tell with the liveries, so I dare say that if Bart feels that he's holding Callum back, there may be a switcheroo coming somewhere, but yeah, it's Callum down to P4, but well, actually, yeah, he's going to be a P3 behind Sharon for the time being once Bart pits, and David is obviously pitted as well. Let's see if Davida fixed his... Oh, he didn't. Davida, unless that's a glitch with ACC, Davida hasn't fixed the damage.
No, Davida was stationary for 32 seconds. That is fuel and tyres only.
So Davida comes out P10, which he was previously, and it looks like... Is that not the Aston Martin that pushed him onto the grass?
Yeah, Pierre-Louis Lely. Yes, it is.
Which is... That Aston's shown as war scar damage on it as well, so this will be interesting to see what happens. Callum right on the back of Bart now. Is Bart going to go this time? Only 2 left. Yeah, he's indicating saying he's going left. So releases Callum. Callum's 6.2 seconds behind Sharon. For anyone, that's quite a challenge. 36 minutes left on the clock as well, so we'll see what we see. But everybody kind of back to where they were. I think Sharon is the only one that really gained.
Yeah, although the gain wasn't much, the gap actually to Dan Edfordson has grown a little bit in these last laps. It was pretty much bang on 5 seconds as Yuval Sharon came into the pit lane, so the gap has expanded a little bit by about 0.8 of a second. And the gap to Callum Jones behind has actually grown as well.
Yeah. So we have Bart and Salah into the pits, so that is the entire grid now having pitted, and it's a 35.5-minute race left. No more tyres, unless anyone causes some damage, then I don't think we'll be seeing any more pit entrances and exits.
I'm going to assume, yeah, Bart de Calva took damage repair, which is why Davide Mandolesi has come out ahead of him.
Oh, okay.
Bart de Calva stationary for 36 seconds. Davide Mandolesi only stationary for 32, which adds up to the 5 and a bit seconds that he's currently clear.
Oh, so okay. Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Airy Fasttails had a bit of a quiet race. We've not really mentioned Airy very much, but he's just been plodding away. P7 at the moment after his pit stop, and he's 5.7 seconds behind Maggio in P6. But I mean, Airy's driving, even just in the past year, has just come on leaps and bounds. I know that Owen Cripps, who you would have known from previous in Toga, kind of took him under his wing a little bit, but Airy absolutely, and this is a strong field. Don't get me wrong, you know, Davide Mandolesi, Bart de Cauwer, Salah, Zanke, Maggio, Callum Jones, all of these people are really strong drivers. So this is, you know, if I was on this race, I'd be behind Zanke, and he's been in for 9 laps now. So it's not. Let's not think that that's an easy thing for Airy. Vertality on YouTube, that's one spread out grid. Yeah, it's all kind of calmed down now. I think the closest battle we've got is Pierluigi Lely and Davide Mandolesi, 2 very battle scarred cars, choosing not to have fixed or repaired them in the pit stops. But I absolutely hate that. I just saw that in the Pierre's when he was braking there when the lights flash. I hate that. When you're in a night race, you cause damage every time you brake. It's like a disco in front of you. It's horrible. Gap staying about 1.6 seconds between these two. This is a battle for P8 at the moment. Bart de Cauwer 2.4 seconds behind. He's certainly, obviously, there he is.
That gap has come down.
Yeah, I think
a second since last lap.
I think that damage is really hurting Lely's race. We'll see how it goes, but certainly at the moment Bart is on the chase, and it looks like Lely's going to have a bit of defending to do, which will release Davide Mandolesi a little bit, take the pressure off him. So we'll see how this goes. But this is Mount Panorama, this is Bathurst, this is a track that can basically throw the best drivers in the world off their game, so nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, saying that the gap's down for Lely. He's now within a 9/10 of Davide. Bart's still about 2 seconds behind. But I was saying this to Hayden the other night. I think being able to see your rival ahead of you almost gives you like a boost, almost like a DRS boost sometimes, that you think, okay, I can see them now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really does. It's just that kind of like drive that you get
Yeah.
You know, when you know that you're closing on someone, you know how much you're closing on them per lap because you see the gap ticking down.
Yep.
But when you can't see them, that's basically, you're just trusting the times to tell you that you're getting closer. You know?
Yeah.
When you can actually see them and you can physically see the gap decreasing in between the cars, it just gives that little boost of pace and confidence normally.
Vertality, not just a couple of walls to run into. I know, very strong walls, I have to say, as well. Lely not quite close enough to put a challenge on Davida, which is where the challenge happened, the second corner there. But let's see how this goes. Davida treating... Oh no, Davida runs right along the side of the Armco barrier there, so that's Lely now moved up position to P8. And once again, Davida has got Bart de Kouwer breathing down his neck. Behind that gap is now 1.2 seconds, but both cars damaged, so Bart on paper has got the stronger position at the moment. If he can get past Davida, I'm sure he could probably catch Lely as well. So everything to fight for in the last 30 minutes of this race. And as you can see, even though they're braking, going onto the apex, there's a slight acceleration and then they're back off heavy on the brakes. Your 2 feet are dancing on the pedals for probably 2/3 of this lap, going up the mountain and back down it again. It looks like, yep, Bart side by side with Davida. Davida eases off slightly. No way for him to challenge when you look at the damage that's on that BMW, as he's just trying to hold on to the track here. So that releases Bart, who's 1 second exactly behind Lely, and see if he can catch up to the Italian ahead of him. It's an Italian sandwich with a Belgium in between. Let's have a little look on board with Bart just as we come down the mountain straight, and yeah, there's not much advantage at the moment. Obviously there will be a slight aero drag with the way the Aston ahead of us is damaged, but getting very, very wide there on the exit, so he's still pushing Pierluigi at the moment. Bart absolutely feathering the throttle there as he comes round this left, right. It really is just about... I think part of the issue with the track is how bumpy it is as you are on full throttle with a slight left or right hand bend. You know, the car just skips along at times. Definitely a lot closer now for Bart. He's 5/10 behind coming down this section. If he can get a good exit here, he's certainly trying to line it up. Yeah, I think Lely kind of matched him on the exit there, so no real advantage, but that's certainly reeled in. It was 1 second the last lap, so 6/10 Bart is taken out on this lap alone. David de Mandelisa now 4.7 seconds behind.
Yeah, and the other thing I just wanted to quickly say, looping back around to my thing about damage earlier on, and how it affects more than just the specific car, part of the car that's damaged. It also actually gives a boost to cars behind you, because it generally means when a car is less aero efficient and the flow of air around the car has been disrupted, it starts to hit part of the cars that force a massive outwake.
Alright, okay.
Which means that actually the amount of slipstream that you're giving a car behind increases because you're punching a bigger hole in the air.
Yeah.
Essentially. So yeah, again, picking up damage, it multiplies the effect on not only your car but also on other cars.
Yeah.
Far more than just, you know, oh, I've got a little bit of, you know, rear corner damage. It is what it is. You know, actually, it has a bigger impact on not only your car but also the ability of other cars to race you.
Yep. I was very gentlemanly of Pierre Luigi, who basically on Mountain Street indicated right, moved over, and obviously just lifted very slightly to allow Bart to cover through up into P8. Laley, I think, realises with the damage he's got, the fight he's got with the car, it's a no contest. As you can see, there's already 1.1 second gained from just even a third of the circuit there. Now Bart is 31 seconds behind Airy Fasttail with just under 26 minutes to go, so I think Bart is just going to just stay consistent and keep putting in consistent times as well. Edverson's last lap was a 2-minute 00.6, 2/10 quicker than Sharon, who is now 7.6 seconds behind, with Callum Jones 7.8 seconds behind that. I'm not used to this, having time to actually look about the grid. Usually it's either rookies or it's some other championship that there's close battles, but everything is just spread out really well at the moment.
Yeah, again, it's just down to nature of the circuit, you know.
Yeah.
You see it at the Nordschleife as well. Any track where it's a difficult track to drive, you get bigger gaps because the level in between each driver is exacerbated.
Yeah. Let's have a look at Sala now. I don't know. I don't think this is the same Sala that was in. Was it the GT3, GT4 multi-class? I remember there was.
I think it might be.
Yeah, I remember it certainly was a Ferrari he was driving. So, if it is the same Sala, then he's driving that BMW very, very well. Vertality, your signature move, the flying BMW. Oh, sorry, I missed your one before that. See, if I was in there, I'd be providing lots of content. So would I. Unfortunately, I'd be mainly into the barriers and ping-ponging my way down the side of the mountain. That's why I've never. I don't know. There's just some tracks that just seem to be like Nordschleife. It's just so intimidating trying to learn it that you eventually think, yeah, there's other things in life I could be doing than battering a car side to side. Certainly at the moment there's nobody touching Edverson's laps at all. He was almost 1 second faster than Sharon on the last lap alone. Callum Jones taking maybe just over 2/10 off that last lap, but still 7.5 seconds. So your move would be called the pinball? Yes, it absolutely would. I would actually have that on my livery. Just a pinball crashing against everything that's on the track. Oh, it's a slightly damaged looking 296 with Davide Canton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, lots of scratches. No loose bodywork by the looks of things.
No, just touches of paint, I think, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, up at the top of the track here, up towards Skyline, is one of the few places in ACC where you can get the car to go over the wall.
Oh, really?
You've got to have a very big crash in a very specific way to get it to do it.
Right.
But yeah, you can get the car to go over the inside wall. Although I guess technically it's outside because the S's turn right first. But yeah, you can get it to clear that concrete barrier if you really want to.
See,
you can do it in iRacing as well. You can
can
clear
you?
that wall if you have a good crash. Yeah.
I wonder how many people have actually spent time trying to perfect that. You know, time after time, just trying to hit the same bit.
I've seen quite a few people who haven't spent any time perfecting it, but have done it very well.
First time lucky.
Just kind of out of the blue. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It actually happened to Jimmy one time, I think, during a GT3 race here in iRacing. He went up and over the wall. And just looked like very confused.
It's certainly not. I mean, I've seen some cars airborne, but not to the extent they've actually been able to hop over a barricade. So that's mighty impressive.
Yeah, obviously it's the benefits of sim racing physics compared to real life physics.
Yeah.
Because in real life you would have to have an insanely specific niche type of incident to be able to to get one of these cars over a wall that's that close to the track.
Yeah.
Because the only times that these cars really get airborne is when they hop off a curb or when they've had time to start rolling.
Yep.
And when the walls are this close to the track, you don't have time to start rolling. You just hit the wall.
We're just on board with Callum. Callum has basically, just over a second off of Sharon in that last lap alone. So Callum Jones maybe feeling the car a little bit easier to manhandle with less fuel, but he's certainly doing a cracking job. But he still has 6.7 seconds with under 20 minutes to go. So as good a racer as Callum is, I think that might just be a little bit outside his reach.
Yeah, it'd need to be a good 0.4 to 0.5 a lap, really.
Yeah.
He would probably get to the back of Yuval Sharon on about 0.3.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't get past him. You know,
No.
He needs those extra couple of tenths a lap to give him a lap or two to manoeuvre an
Absolutely.
overtake.
Study the back of the 296 enough to know where their racing line is, where their braking points are. Yeah, it's kind of crept up slightly back up to 7 seconds almost at the moment. Obviously, oh wow. Okay, I'm not going to focus on Callum anymore. I have the fear that I'm giving him some kind of commentator's curse subliminally. Try saying that with a couple of drinks in you. Yeah.
In all fairness, I don't know how much of that is a couple of drinks and how much of that is the Scottish accent.
Yeah.
To be entirely honest with you.
It's like the other night, was it Reese that asked me how I managed to put up with Hayden's cream egg jokes all night, and I just went, I was drunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Sometimes it's the only way.
It is exactly, especially when it's worse than dad jokes.
Ooh. Holy moly, how has Callum Jones managed to hold that? Oh, that was mightily impressive. Had about 3 snaps of oversteer coming out of Forest Elbow there. I have no clue how he's managed to keep that Mustang going in a straight line.
It actually looked like he was trying to drift it round the corners.
Yeah, absolutely did. It was ridiculous.
Oh man, we have to say obviously Callum races go-karts in real life as well, so I think that's where the kind of crossover between sim racing and actual real life go-kart racing comes into it, because he seems to be able to turn his hand to oh my goodness, all kinds of oversteer now, but I think that's where he's able to basically transfer his driving skills to almost any car and drive it really competitively.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably that really aids him in that handling of the oversteer as well. Because karts are all about being on that limit of grip. Generally with karting, the rule of thumb is if it feels... Who on earth is ringing my intercom? Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, no bother. We're watching Maggio as... it's a beautiful livery that Maggio's got in that. We certainly seem to attract Italian drivers for our World Tour Series, but that is a beautiful looking livery for the McLaren there. Maggio, who's had quite a quiet race, 21 seconds away from P5 Canton and 7.1 seconds ahead of Airy Fasttail at the moment. So McLaren just having a race of its own, the only McLaren in the on the track today. So we've got 4 296s, 1 Mustang, 3 296s, 3 Aston Martins, and 3 BMWs. Man, karting is great. You only been for fun. I love karting as well. I would absolutely love. I don't think my spine could take it, but I would certainly before my injury. I loved karting. It was just such a good piece of fun to have with your friends. You know, just go and have a few races, and obviously they're all timed as well, so you get a lot of competition. But when you look at these karters who actually are doing it competitively, they are just insane. The moves they make, where me and yourself, Mank, would look at something and go, there's no way that moves on, and then, you know, they get the move done. Absolutely amazing. I think you have to be slightly insane as well, because you need to remove the whole mortality part of your brain. Especially when these circuits are small and overtaking is a very premium price. But Maggio's doing an absolutely amazing job, just like a Swiss watch, just ticking away, keeping his rhythm going. You can see how much the suspension travels as well in these cars, even if they're not hitting the curbs. That just shows how uneven the track is, how bumpy it is. And I think if you look at Alton Park, Snetterton, Brand's a little bit as well. You've got so many bumps on the tarmac that, like I say, this, especially at the top of the mountain, when you've got a slight left-hander coming up and your car's just literally bouncing and skipping, with the tyres squealing for their lives.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Pretty much all the British circuits are bumpy.
Yeah, no.
Same as all the British roads, pretty much.
Yeah, we're just missing a few big, huge crater potholes for them to burst their tyres in the wheel.
God, imagine hitting a pothole in a stiff GT3 car like this.
Oh.
God, the momentary spine compression would be horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really horrific.
And the amount of damage you would do as well, you probably rip the entire suspension running gear off its mounts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These things are so stiff; they're really not made to hit a pothole.
No, absolutely.
And they run so low to the ground as well. You'd be ripping out parts of the underbody of these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you imagine trying
if you hit a pothole?
Go over a speed bump in one of these things?
I assume it would look somewhat. In my mind, it would look very similar to the. I'm going to use polite phrasing for the people that I'm about to talk about. I assume it would look something similar to the ratty 19-year-olds that pick up their girlfriends from secondary school, going down the road in their extremely lowered Volkswagen Golfs. And Polos and Peugeot 206s and whatnot.
Yep.
In that they either approach it at an angle or just drive through the middle of them and don't care about anyone else on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. In Scotland, they've certainly designed full width speed bumps in certain areas, and it's just horrendous. It really is. It doesn't matter what side you go. When I lived in Glasgow, my first A35 I had, Didn't have a body kit on it. Oh, looks like David is under huge amounts of pressure from Salah at the moment. It didn't have a aero kit on it, but it, yeah, there were certain streets I actually couldn't drive down because of the speed bumps.
Yeah, that's insane.
Salah takes that spot. David are not really challenging, knowing that there's no, it's not really a clean fight to have. So just lets him get on with his job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some pretty atrocious speed bumps. I tell you what, nothing comes close. No speed bump in history comes close to the cinema parking speed bump. These things, they might as well be rectangles. Okay, they are ridiculous, especially down in southwest England where I live. I don't know if it's any different up in Scotland, but the speed bumps that you get in these cinema car parks are something else. I mean, everyone's got to crawl over them, no matter what car you're in.
Even an HGV at times.
They are genuinely horrific speed bumps.
I'm just looking to see, it's not Maggio, is it Canton? No, it's not Canton. Oh, it might actually be Sharon. It is Sharon. So Sharon now starting to lap. David has been lapped. Salah looks like next to be lapped. So Callum Jones just behind Davida as well. So yeah, the top half are starting to catch the slower cars. But you're absolutely right. Some of them are utterly horrendous, and they do it deliberately. But you know, it doesn't just stop the boy racers; it ruins everybody's suspension, regardless of how slow you go over it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand that the point of it is to stop boy racers, but you know, most boy racers aren't going to go to a cinema car park anyway, because they've all got license plate recognition when you drive in and out.
Yep.
And they've all got CCTV.
Yep.
So if you want to go and be a boy racer, doing it in a car park that's heavily CCTV monitored and is going to take your registration details is completely stupid and pointless.
Yep.
Although we are talking about boy racers, so
well, I know anything's possible. Just Davida doing an you know, if you enjoy podcasts, we've got our own podcast. It's called a Togcast for obvious reasons. Davide Mandalisi, I sat down with him last week and had a half-hour chat with him. It's just released this evening on our YouTube channel under the podcast section. But Davide has been the nicest guy I've met in such a long time. And trust me, there's a lot of nice people in Toga. He literally just cut the corner coming down the side of the mountain to let Callum pass, so he wasn't impeded in any way, shape and form. So we've seen quite gentlemanly behaviour tonight from some of the drivers, which is nice to see. The closest battle we have is this, and it's 3.1 seconds of a difference. It's Bart de Kouwer and Pierre-Luigi Lely. We're under 10 minutes to go, and there might be some drivers who come into the interview waiting room. We always do driver interviews at the end of a race, and especially when it's the end of the championship. Dan Edvardsen obviously is the champion of this Season 2 World Tour. I believe Season 3 has opened up for registration.
Yeah, we've been taking payments for GT for Season 3 for a few weeks, I think.
Yeah, so if you are interested in joining us, we are a PC only community at the moment, and we predominantly race ACC, but there are rumours in the pipeline that there's maybe some AC content coming along with other things. So if you are PC, go to SimGrid. You can create a profile for nothing. You can then, if you follow Toga Motorsport, you'll see our calendar and all the races and championships we run. Join us on Discord and you'll be able to sign up. It's as simple as that. And if you're in Discord, you can also, like how I plugged this, if you're in Discord, we do have a membership system running. It starts at £1 a month. Now, £1, I said this to Hayden the other night, I don't think there's anything you buy for £1 now. So £1 it starts at, and the Platinum is £7 a month. So gives you little perks and benefits, which we can always show on screen at some point in the future. I don't have a button assigned because I've formatted my PC. But yeah, so you can become a member. It helps support the running costs of Toga. It's quite an expensive sport to run a community on. So, but yeah, so that's the old plug done, as we've got just over 5 minutes left now. Let's focus on Dan Edwardson from... I'm going to try and pronounce this... Cronulans Esports?
I would assume it's Cronulans or something like that.
Yeah.
I expect the R probably rolled. Cronulans? Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Close enough, but... so he is the World Tour Season 2 champion.
Yeah, that's not in doubt.
It's not in doubt.
In fact, it wasn't in doubt before the race, but he's really stamped his authority on it this time, hasn't he?
All he didn't need to get is mathematician brain working for this one, thankfully. So,
well, I wouldn't have been able to, mate. To be entirely honest with you, I'm 2 ciders deep. And, and I've had a long week, so tonight would not be the night for me to be calculating it. The possible points options.
Oh. I remember you did that for one of our first commentaries together, and you literally had about 7 different scenarios that you worked every single point out. I was amazed, utterly amazed by it.
I had a spreadsheet open, and it was we had like 7 drivers who could win.
Yep.
And it was all of this good old, if X driver finishes P1 and X and X driver don't finish above P5, then that driver finishes in P2. But only if that driver doesn't finish ahead of this driver and this driver. It was like, it was
crazy.
Mad. It was like a big circle. Everyone else's finishing position had a massive impact on the finishing position of everyone else.
Yep. Yeah, it was crazy, but I was mighty impressed by that. So. A flash of the lights there from Dan Edwardson. I'm assuming that was maybe to let Lily know that he's coming through, or maybe it was for the stream. Sometimes drivers have the stream on in the background, and
it would have been for Lily, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Nicely at the cutting, good place to do it.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Lily did actually move out the way for Bart to cover earlier on in the race, so Lily wasn't going to cause any issues for him.
I tell you what. Dan Edwardson, if you are listening to the stream, give us a flash of the headlights when you're coming down the back straight, because we'll get a front-on view of the car in Helicam, and then we'll see if he's listening along. I don't know if he does. I know there are some drivers that do. I know Davide Mandalesi tends to have his open.
Yep. As does Mr. Hood, who was getting invalid information from us the other night. When it was about pit stop strategy. So yeah, sometimes it does benefit when you listen to the stream and you hear that somebody's pitting before you can actually see it on your screen. So yeah, but it's always nice having people watching and enjoying the streams. I know some of the drivers go back and watch the stream afterwards, especially a grid small as this. Majority of drivers get a little bit of airtime as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, Davide, if you're watching, give us a little flash at some point, whether it's on this back straight or the front straight. You might be through the back straight by the time that that message gets to you.
The delay. Oh no, there we go. Way. Oh, amazing.
Davide, as always.
He still has a sense of humour after the car looks like it's just been driven by
yeah, there he is.
By a 17-year-old who doesn't know how to drive very well. So yeah, huge congrats to Davida, who didn't bother fixing his car at all and just continued to drive like the maniac that he is. So amazing to see. But if you do like podcasts, then certainly give ours a check. There's 17 of them. Mr. Ollie, his was a couple of weeks ago, I think. And we had Eric last week, Davida this week. We've interviewing a couple more, Peter Romeo and Ches, Barry R from the the commentators team. So yeah, if you are part of our community, then please open up a ticket for the Togcast in Discord.
Yeah, and obviously the jewel in the crown of the Togcast series is when you managed to somehow persuade Jardier
I did.
To come and waffle with you about cars and racing and all sorts for what was that, about an hour and a half?
It was an hour and a half. I talked to him, so I basically cheekily sent an email to him just explaining who Toga was, and bear in mind we had 2,500 subscribers on YouTube at the time, and I totally expected a thanks very much, but I'm really busy just now. But he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll just so I can actually say I am friends with Jardier on Discord. I had an hour and a half chat and broke it down to 2 half-hour segments for Togcast, and he was an absolute gentleman, so he was. So again, yeah, Jardier, I would also like to flex my sim racing muscles by saying that I had a message sent to me by Jimmy Broadbent for my birthday this year. One of my community in my own channel moderates for Annie, who is his pregnant girlfriend. I'm not quite sure what the title is. And so I got this really goofy message from Jimmy Broadbent, which a lot of folk thought it was one of these cameo things where you pay someone and they just insert your name, but no, it was actually a personal message to me. So so I'm hoping, I don't think Jimmy's watching, but I'm hoping to maybe get Jimmy Broadbent on Togcast at some point as well. I would love to chat to him and find out more about him, from his shed days to his now driving BMW M4s round real tracks, and obviously he was in the Ginetta Cup as well. So yeah, it's an ever growing thing, so it is. But we try to do as much as we can here at Toga, as we watch Dan Edwardson just getting onto the back of Bart de Kouwer as they come to the last few turns. Most of these drivers will probably feel like they have been in a swimming pool, I would think, with the layers of sweat that they've accumulated in the past 80 minutes.
I'm surprised Bart de Kouwer hasn't chosen to let Dan Edwardson by. I think he wants to finish on the lead lap. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
thanks, lads.
Yep.
I'd be letting him pass.
Slow down,
yeah,
let him pass.
Flash the headlights there from Dan Edwardson, celebrating now.
Amazing.
Officially, the World Tour Season 2 champion. I mean, brilliant from him. He's been up there fighting at the top the whole the whole season.
Yep.
Won his fair share of races. He's been very, very good in that number 180 BMW and thoroughly deserves this championship win. Across the line in second is Yuval Sharon in the SWIT racing team. He looks like he might be gearing up to have a crash and then do some donuts. Alan Jones in the Mustang P3 stopped at the side of track. He is clearly done for tonight. P4 is
go.
P4 is Dario Vianello in the sim racing team number 69 Ferrari. And then the invert, the number 96 Ferrari of Davide Canton in P5. Then Francesco Maggio is going to be P6 with Ari Fastel in P7. Bart de Kouwer is coming down towards Sector 3 now in the number 777 Aston Martin to come home in P8, sorry. Pierluigi Lelli was P9 with Francesco Sala in P10. P11 was Davide Mandalesi. And now Callum is doing some donuts. And Bruno Zanchi finished last of all, P12. He was in the pit lane for for the last 23 laps of that race.
Wow. Yep. So huge congratulations not only to Dan Edvardson, who takes the trophy for this season's World Tour, but I think really I'm having a look at Callum. So, yep, Callum looks like he has taken P2. I think Sharon actually takes P3. Sharon was only 4 points behind Maggio. So, yeah, so there we go. That looks like your lineup for first, second, and third in the standings. Huge congratulations to all three of them, but especially to everyone who has been involved in the World Tour, from the stewards to Ollie to everyone else, staff, Hayden for putting this on. I think, having spoken to some of the drivers, they have actually really enjoyed the championship, especially the fact that it's been so competitive for the majority of the time as well.
I'm going to give a big shout out to Dexter as well for having spent so many hours working through the operating system to get this dedicated server up and running, because the disconnect issues that we were having at the start of this championship really would have left a sour taste if they hadn't been solved.
Yep.
So a big shout out to Dexter as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So amazing. So what we'll do is we'll have a look and see if we have anyone in the interview waiting room. Oh, well, we've got everyone. Well, we don't actually have everyone, but we have a few. So I'll let Ollie, since Ollie has done most of the commentating for this championship, I'll let him speak to Mr. Edvardson for his title.
Yeah, we'll pull in Mr. Dan Edvardson first. I mean, it has been a brilliant championship for you, Dan. I mean, there's not been a race, at least that I've seen, where you haven't been at the sharp end of the field, and it meant that coming into this final round, you had the championship tied up no matter where you finished.
Yep.
But still, went out, laid down the pole position time, and took the win by almost 10 seconds anyway here at Bathurst. Would you say this is a track you particularly enjoy in the BMW?
In the BMW, yes. Give me any other car and I will get killed within 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
very much the way here at Bathurst, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your pace and consistency across the whole championship was really, really brilliant. Do you maybe attribute that to being in a car that you're really familiar with and know how it works inside out?
Yeah, it's. I only drive other cars to have fun once in a while. I always use this, so I know it pretty well. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, did you have many kind of sketchy moments through the race? I mean, I didn't necessarily watch a lot of your onboard because you were just, miles and away clear of the rest of the grid. But a lot of other drivers, just the one. That's very good.
I had
going
one where
for an hour and
where
20
I went.
minutes at Bathurst.
Yeah, I went straight. Coming across Skyline, and one back marker who, but that's just caught me off guard. So, that's all. Nothing else.
Yeah. So overall, not too much of a problem at all, then, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
it's always tough, and like maybe I finished 10 seconds in front of the other guys, but like I had to keep the foot down to keep them behind. I could not take a rest, take it easy or anything. I had to throw it in the corners. So
yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, again, a massive congratulations on being the champion here in season 2 of the World Tour. Are you looking at coming back for season 3 and seeing if you can get a double championship under your belt here at Toga?
It depends on when, because normally I work weekends as well. That's why I did this championship, because I had no work on the weekends. So
yeah, absolutely, I understand that.
I might not be able to, but let's see.
Yeah, well, I very much hope that we'll be able to see you back again, and I hope that you enjoy your prize winnings for being the champion here.
Yeah, of course I will.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, mate. Have a good rest of your evening. I hope you have a good one.
Thank you, and same to you guys.
Cheers. See you later on, Dan.
See you.
Have a good one in a bit.
Right, I think we should speak to Mr. Number 2 in the championship, Mr. Callum Jones, and see how he's feeling after that race. How are you, Callum?
Honestly, a little frustrated. Not gonna lie.
Okay, with yourself or
A bit with myself, a bit with the car,
yeah,
and a bit with just. I guess just it was caused by myself not nailing the qualifying lap to get P2. So
Yeah.
just got me stuck behind the Ferraris.
you really looked like you were on the limit every single lap. And at one point you had, I can't remember what corner it was, you had 2 moments of oversteer, and I actually thought you were trying to do a drift around the whole lap. Well, I mean, the Mustang isn't the easiest car in the world to drive, never mind taking it onto Bathurst. Did you do lots of practice with it?
I unfortunately didn't have much time to practice due to some family circumstances. So
Yeah.
I only really got to practice yesterday
Uh-huh.
properly.
Yep.
And obviously today, well, I got into the practice server and then found out I had 17 kilos on as well. I was like, oh my god. So it was just kind of all stacked against.
Yeah.
It felt all right in terms
Yeah,
of handling.
I have to say, I mean, you were utilising every millimetre of the track that you could, and luckily managed to keep out of the wall for most of it. I think there's maybe a few barriers that have some green paint on them, but
Yeah, there's a couple. I think I had about three contacts on the wall. One
Yeah.
was big and scary through the downhill chase, that left where you have to chuck it in.
yeah,
I got too much grip and then plonked the wall slightly, and it nearly, the one where it pushes you out into the other wall if you hit it, I managed
Yeah.
to stop so I didn't completely clatter the other wall. But that was scary, and the
it's-
other two were just like glances. But
yeah. It's the only thing I know of with Bathurst is how to crash into walls. I don't know how to get around the lap without doing it.
Trust me, that's how I've gotten so quick, by crashing a lot.
It might not sound it, but congratulations. I mean, you came in second in a championship that's got some very, very quick drivers. Are there any points in any of the races that you kind of ruled that you think could maybe have been challenging more for the first spot?
Imola could have been better. Obviously, Bathurst today could have been better.
Yeah.
Red Bull Ring could have gone better. A, if it was dry. B, if I didn't get taken out in that race. So
Yeah.
there was quite a few things that went against me this season, but it happens to everyone, I guess. So
Yeah, it does, and I'm quite good at reading motivational things on TikTok, and it's like you learn more about when you lose or you make mistakes than you do when you actually win. So, I mean, Dan today that BMW was on rails. It didn't put a foot wrong. He said he had a bit of a moment once, but yeah.
No, he did an amazing job all season, deserving champion.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, again, huge congratulations for P2 in the championship, and for also having the Toga eSport as well. I mean, obviously the boss is in the comms box as well, and he was looking on with, I think, pride. Would that be right, Ollie?
Yeah, it's always really great to see one of the Toga esports guys succeeding, especially in a championship where I know they've really put a lot of effort into it, and really care about the results. So yeah, it's always really great to see someone succeeding in the championship. You know, whether it's a driver that I know relatively well and and closer to, like Callum. Or whether it's one of the newer drivers who I maybe don't know as well. It's always great to see them getting some success.
Yeah, absolutely. Ollie did ask this to Dan, so I'm going to ask you as well. Are you looking at coming back for season 3?
I'll have to look at the dates. I do have a little holiday planned, which might conflict. So
nice.
I'll have
Excellent.
to check. But
Are you going
we'll
somewhere nice?
Driving tour around Europe.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Oh, my.
In what car or cars, though?
In my 1997 Saab 9000.
Nice, yeah. That's
Taking my own car over, so
If you're going to do it in style, so
yeah.
amazing.
Hopefully it doesn't break down.
Well, fingers crossed. I mean,
Fingers crossed.
you won't get any commentators curse, so at least that's one thing, I suppose. No, absolutely amazing, Callum. Great drive, and it's great talking to you. I hope you have a great evening.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Thanks as ever for commentating, and let me represent you guys in the esports team.
Ah,
no,
amazing.
Absolutely, mate. You're a brilliant driver.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself,
Thank you very
Callum.
much. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right, I'll bring Davida in for you. There you go.
Hello. Davide Mandolesi.
Hello.
Hi.
I mean, obviously, maybe not the best race that you've ever had.
Yeah,
But hey, the mountain giveth and the mountain taketh away. I think is probably the most accurate thing I can say about that race. It is such a challenging track that even just getting to the end of the race is a massive achievement, realistically.
yeah, as you said, it is a very difficult track to race for 80 minutes straight. So the first thing I want to do is congratulate myself with the winner and the everyone basically that took part in the race and finished the race, because that is, I think it's not like something you take for granted. And it was a difficult race. If I may, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm not gonna make this bad or anything. I don't know how to explain myself, so I'm gonna try and keep it as polite as possible. And you know me, I won't do anything crazy, but still, I love the Olympics, okay? I'm gonna start with this. I love the Olympics, and
okay.
that might be a long shot, okay? But trust me, not only because of the sports and all the competitiveness that they show, also for the values and principles that they represent. And I really stand for those principles of sportsmanship and fair play with all the other people. And what happened today, I think, is that some of that values maybe were not there.
I think I have a tickling feeling that I might know the incident that you're maybe or maybe not alluding to.
And that thing is gonna
I watched it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That thing is gonna be decided by the stewards, obviously.
Yeah.
As always, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, and I'm not stepping over them. I will report it, but I want to say one thing. I was menaced that this thing would have happened, so I have my reasons to think that was intentional. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is judged in another way. Anyway, as VM Technologies founder, as a driver, and as Davide Mandolesi, I want to say that I want to make this place better. I want to contribute to make sim racing a better thing. In the small things that I can, because obviously I don't have superpowers or something like that. But still, you think you can go around and okay, now I make justice by myself because I think that was dirty, so I will make things even by myself on track. Go ahead, do that on me. You're not gonna ruin my race. You think you're gonna do it? I don't care. I stayed out with the damage. I was in a situation where I don't really know the track. I try to be as safe as I can.
Yeah.
But with the damage, the car behavior changes. It shifts. I have to adapt. I take more damage, which makes things even worse. You think, oh, that's gonna ruin my race. Not at all. I'm gonna keep going. I won't fix that damage because you challenge me, I take the challenge. It might not be fair. It's not up for me to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will take the challenge. I will race until the end. I won't let other people ruin it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will have fun. I will push till the end. For everything that I've got, I will give it to the race.
Yeah.
And I will try not to be an harm for other people like Callum or Eduardo Sen or whoever gets to pass me.
Yeah.
Go on. I will try
Yeah,
to give you the slipstream. I will try to take everything positive that there is still in the race. So with that thing said, sorry about that. I know it's not like a thing I should discuss, but I felt like not doing that wouldn't be like in my style, if you know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's just the Italian passion coming out in you at the end of the day. You're Italian. Did you make the hand gesture when you were talking there?
Obviously.
Oh, there we go. It's a proper Italian passion then.
Yeah, but I think it's it's a very good point you raise. The reason that we've got the systems and the processes in place that we do here at Toga is so that incidents that you have on track can be swiftly, thoroughly dealt with and be penalised how they need to by a team of stewards who know what they're talking about. You know, we've got stewards on our team who have been stewarding for sim racing leagues for years, and they know what they're talking about. And sometimes it is just smarter to leave the decision making up to them. You know, if you've had a crash, report it. Let the team deal with it, and they will give a response. You know, going out on track and I guess vigilante would be the word that most people would use. I guess that vigilante style justice is not going to slide in Toga. You know, and yeah, you make a very, very valid point, and one that I absolutely support. And I'm sure a lot of the staff members here would as well.
Thank you. But still, the race wasn't all about that, so I enjoyed it anyway. And especially the whole championship for me, it was something very enjoyable because, you know, the top part of the field was very quick, very fast with our own Callum Jones and all the others. They were very, very quick all the time. And I really enjoy to drive in a field like that because you really feel the challenge. You really feel like, okay, I might be giving the 100% of myself, but maybe there's more. And there is certainly more because people is going faster than you. So it's like that thing that pushes you forward and lets you want to improve, want to stay with them, and maybe even if you get lapped, try to stay as close as you can to the lapping car. It was yeah, very, very enjoyable experience, the whole championship. And for me and also for Andrea, which couldn't be here today, but still I know he enjoyed it a lot. And being his second overall championship, I feel like Toga is the host to go if you want to race and you want to do it well and you want to enjoy the racing whatever level you belong in, because there's people in the top, let's say 5, top 10, which are very competitive, very fast, and maybe there's people a little bit less fast in the back and they still give everything they've got, try to be as fair as possible, and they have a place where they really can battle themselves. And I mean, it's just a nice community to be part of, I think.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And obviously I plugged your Togcast tonight as well, so the only thing I want to say is I actually thought you were going to jump the barrier at one point, try and get out of Callum's way, coming down the mountain when you straight lined. I thought you couldn't have made more space for him if you tried. It was brilliant to see. So yeah, it's not been your race. It's not been the best finish that you could have had for what's happened, but you still have your sense of humour. You're still a nice guy, and that's the main thing. So keep your chin up and go and get a well-earned cold drink of something. Yeah, we will speak to you real soon, Davida.
I surely will. Thank you about everything, about the streamings and all the stuff that you do for Toga and for organizing these championships and events. Sorry again for the polemic that I brought up, but I mean,
you're better to get it off your chest, and I'm only glad that you did the hand gesture as well.
Last thing I want to say, people, please leave a like. Because I only see 4 likes. I don't know if that's...
Oh, yeah. I don't... Yeah.
Come on, guys. You can do better.
We can do better. We didn't even push that tonight either, to be fair. I think it's about 6 or 8 months since Ollie and myself actually have commentated together. So it's like a step back in time for me.
The good old mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Can't beat it. We're just missing Julian for the onion, and that would be sorted.
Yeah. It's a long time that I don't hear from him. I would message him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Davida, thanks very much for your time and take care.
See you. Good night.
Good night. Right, there we go. Another championship done and dusted. Yeah, as I say, Ollie has done a lot more commentating than I have on this championship, so I think it would only be fair to Ollie to have the last final words of the stream tonight. I just want to thank everybody who's been chatting with us, and appreciate you watching and sending love. So over to Mr. Ollie to close us off.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to ride on your tail, Coach, pretty much. A massive thank you to everyone who's made this championship possible, whether it's staff at Toga, staff at SimGrid, who obviously have built an amazing platform for us to be able to host these events through. To anyone who was involved in the racing, of course, there's no championship unless people sign up for it. You guys have made it all amazing. A big shout out to Dan Edvardson, overall champion, and to Callum Jones, P2, in the Toga Esports Mustang. And a brilliant season, plenty of racing up and down the grid. I do hope that you'll be joining us back here again for season 3 of the World Tour, which should be starting in just a couple of weeks' time. But of course, don't go anywhere just yet, because we do still have racing coming from Toga. Next week, we have got the Rookie Wednesday League. That is on Wednesday night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Same place here on the Toga Motorsports YouTube channel and Twitch channel, so make sure to turn up for those ones. But yeah, from myself and Mac, it's going to be a good night for now. But I'm sure that we will see you guys here and chat again before too much longer when we continue our commentating journeys here at Toga Motorsports. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good rest of your night, and I hope you have enjoyed this stream.
Bye-bye.